and welcome to today's episode of Indulge Videos. I am standing in the historic and scientific premise of the Birla Industrial and Technological Museum, which is one of the premier institutions of science museum in Calcutta under the National Council of Science Museums. What is so interesting about this museum, if you ask? Well, I'll not say much about it, but I'll show you. But before that, let me tell you a little bit about the historic significance. This building, where I'm standing, passed on through several iconic hands in Calcutta before becoming a premier science museum. And now it has been recognized as a heritage property with a Grade 1 Blue Plaque. We will show you all about it and also talk to the director of the museum, who's going to tell us about the museum, its evolution, how it is coping up with development in science and progress, and about fostering creativity, scientific acumen and interest through interactive artifacts within this housing. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar.
We have with us Subhabrata Chaudhuri, who is the director of BITM, and he's going to tell us a lot more about the evolution and the future of this museum. Sir, let's start from the beginning. From Baldev Das Birla to the Birla Industrial and Technological Museum. How did the entire space evolve?
Yeah, I'd like to take you something beyond Baldev Das Birla, because in fact this property belonged to the Tagore family. In fact, the third brother of Tagore, Satyendra Tagore's son, was the owner of this premises. So, and he started having some business in which he was not at all successful. Finally, he had to hand over this property to the Birla, and Birla took it at the paltry sum of 24,000, including that plot that is still belonging to the Birla Mandir. Okay. So it is only during 2000, around 1920, this building came up. This building came up, and then thereafter, especially during the period of freedom movement, a lot of leaders used to frequent this house. So it is very historically important building that is there. And then immediately after our independence, the first official chief minister of West Bengal, Dr. D.C. Roy, he had been to George's Museum and also to the London Science Museum. And he saw such wonderful facilities where science and technology of that country, or sometimes also some parts of the world, is being showcased in proper manner. Not only for the adult generation, but also for the students. So immediately he came back and got in touch with the central government, and it is with the initiative of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, this Birla house was approached, and they were happy to part with that property, and we started functioning from May 2nd of 1959. And initially it was under CSIR, Center for Scientific and Industrial Research, and we started with some few galleries. Gradually we evolved. Then under this one, Visvesvaraya Industrial and Technological Museum came up sometimes during the mid of 60s. Then also during the time we decided that so many people cannot visit, because ours is a very populous country. So people cannot visit and enjoy all the facilities over here. So we decided to also roll out our very premier mobile science exhibition programs, which can crisscross the country and see everything. Then came up, I should say, this science park in Nehru Science Center, Mumbai. And sometimes during mid-70s, the then planning commission thought that the objectives of such a science museum, such a wonderful, we are having a very prominent footmark on the psyche of the young generation. So they thought that, okay, the objectives of CSIR and those of Science Museum cannot go together, because so they thought that we should have a separate setup, and accordingly a new national body was formed, which is called National Council of Science Museum, and which happens to be the largest network of science centers under single administrative umbrella, of which BITM is the unit, and BITM happens to be the headquarter of the Eastern Zone. This is how that started from those days in today's,
Right.
Right.
A very few days ago, BITM has also received the Blue Plaque, a recognition of a heritage space. So, can you tell us a little bit about that momentous occasion?
Yeah, in fact it is a great occasion for us that finally this building has got recognition as the class 1 heritage building. Actually, it also gives due recognition to the very tireless efforts of Indian scientists who had to take science forward against all the willful uh, troubles created by the then British Raj. Like I'm talking about Prabhupada Chandra Ray, Jagadish Chandra Bose, or Pramodnath Bose. This all speakers and some other scientists who also wanted to take the Indian science through setting up different establishments like Mohanlal Sarkar, who set up Indian Association for Cultivation of Science. So against all those odds, we started, having the journey, very difficult one. And later on, during the post-independence period, this responsibility of taking the science forward to the very, rural population and everything, that came as a big responsibility to us. So we have done all, but we need to do a lot of things because in a country with 1.47 billion, so we have a lot of things to do. In fact, we have the mandate of setting up such units in a smaller forms in all districts of the country. So it is a wonderful journey, and that has been recognized in some other way. So we are really elated.
So, we are standing in front of a very interesting locomotive model. Could you tell us a little bit about this model?
Well, these are real collections of this premier museum. In fact, it used to run in the this Goshirhat section, and we kept it just to give the visitors a feeling that how railway system evolved in our country, and also that is supplemented with a lot of anecdotal references, like when we wanted to talk that the first uh, this Rajdhani Express started in the route from Howrah to Delhi. So what about the psychological feature of the then the first motorman? Similarly, we used to know that okay, now we are very confident that we always travel by AC coaches, but there was a time when this railwayman used to keep the slabs of ice beneath the carriage of railway bogie, and they used to give blowers so that the passengers can get some feeling of AC and all the things. So with that one, we try to supplement this area, and as we have told that we always try to ignite the curiosity of visitors, especially the young ones. So these artifacts act as a wonderful props for information dissemination.
So, this is a restored model?
These are all restored models.
Right. Similarly, since the building is a very old building, it's a heritage building, how do you keep up with the maintenance of the building?
That is the most challenging, issue which we have been facing. But we are doing it very methodically in the sense that, it is very difficult to identify the right type of, heritage architect. So what we have done that we have formed a very, very very high-powered committee with some prominent figures from IIT Kharagpur, then from those from heritage committee members of the government of West Bengal. So with them, we are preparing the detailed project report, and some agencies are being engaged where they will go for structural auditing of this building. Once that is done, and then when we will be able to know that how much items will be required, based on which we will have the estimate, then immediately we will go for restoration. It is a bit time taking exercise, but it is an exercise in the right direction. This is exactly what we need to do, and we have been doing it.
Right. When I was walking past the main entrance, I was told that construction is going on to place the busts of female scientists as well. Here comes two questions. One is, could you name some of the eminent scientists or personalities who had visited the museum? And second is, are women scientists being given their due today?
It is a problem not only of India but everywhere in the world. In fact, even if you go by a statistics which just came out in the some newspapers and other articles of US, you will find that the women scientists are paid less, and not so many women scientists are chairing or the head of some institution. That is a big issue, and they face a lot of discriminatory approach in their labs and other things. But things are changing very fast, especially in India, and things are changing very fast. And my personal opinion is that the women are coming up very well compared to the male form. So that was one thing. The other thing is that lot of a very good number of women scientists, they contributed a lot, but they were not known to the public. So this is why we decided that we will have to begin with 10 busts of women scientists with information about their work, about their bio and all the things, so that people, while taking entry, they can see, and in that way they can, number one, pay tribute to them, and they get sensitized to what they ought to do in their lives. So this is how we are doing it.
Right. And some of the famous people who had been to BITM?
Well, I put it in another way. You go any part of the world, and if he or she happens to be from this region, you'll always get this answer. They owe their career to some extent to BITM. In fact, just late Sri Kumar Banerjee, who was the Secretary of Atomic Energy Commission, he was staying very near. He told that, okay, he got all sorts of information when he was a student. It was Professor Vikas Sinha. He told that, I thought that I'll become an engineer, but I decided that when I came over here, I found that if I extend my hand, someone is pouring water. So that is the outcome of some photoelectric effect. So this is how he got into physics. So finally he took up physics as his career, and this is how his life went on. Similarly, I can also say another example, very interesting example of one professor of IISER Kolkata. Let me tell his name straightway. That Professor Purno Shlok Bhaduri. In fact, we have under BITM, there is one satellite unit in Digha, and we have our camp, summer camp, national camp. So he was one of the members of the national camp, and he was very clear in his approach that he will have his career in physics. But having attended that camp, he decided that he would take up his career in biological sciences. And so accordingly, he is one of the most acclaimed professors and doing great work in IISER. So these are some of the, in fact, BITM has acted as a game-changing, agent in the careers of so many people. And others, all well-known dignitaries, more or less they have come. In fact, I can tell you that we often see that scientists of very high caliber, they are addressing the students, they are addressing the people. But the first formal, thing of its kind started in this heritage building. It is in the year 1960. 1960, I repeat, on 2nd May, the first public demonstration lecture was delivered by none other than Professor Satyendranath Bose. And you will be surprised to see that he used to talk, he was a champion of telling that this science education should be in the mother language. So in fact, in the talk of almost 1 hour, he didn't use any English word, and this is how he started science, dissemination through lectures, through popular lectures to the students. So this is how so many scientists, they have played their part in making this institution to what it is today.
So we are standing in front of the Fiat Tipo, which was owned by Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose. So can you tell us about this model and some of the original models that exist in the museum?
Okay. So number one is that we always, as I have told you, that we not only bring the scientists to address the students, but also we try to ignite their curiosity through some holdings which we have in the form of models. Exactly, this acts as a catalyst of their curiosity. And this is a model of 1925, and it was Fiat Tipo 103, and the date of manufacture is 1925, and it used to take 3 passengers apart from the driver. So when we got it, it was in running condition. So we used to engage our drivers. They used to take it out and just took a round and bring it back. Then we thought that in case if it meets any accident, so we'll be losing something of a very premier position we have as an artifact. So we decided to upgrade this gallery. So we decided to put it permanently, and that it works wonder. People come and enjoy it.
What are some of the other original artifacts that one can look at?
Well, in fact, it has got some, two-wheelers, very interesting two-wheelers we have, and some engines, IC engines, and they have got, and some very faithful replica that we have done it. In fact, what we wanted to tell through this gallery is that, see, in 1829, that's the first, the first roadworthy, railway engine started chugging on, but it came to India within hardly 24 years. So all technologies that came to India, like in 1844 this telegraph came. Within 10 years we got telegraph here also in India. So they all came here for basically by the Britishers to plunder our country and all. They wanted to get total access to the length or breadth of the country. So when we are showing this original replica like two-wheelers and this models, and also just right out here you'll find some aero engines and also one beam engine owned by Dwarkanath Tagore, and which used to be used for tugging the ships in the Calcutta port. These are all used. When we are using this one, at the same time we make some faithful replica just to show how the history of not only of this transportation that has started its journey, for the other technologies also we have made it so.
Right. While we were talking, you said about the museum on wheels. Can you tell us a little bit more? And since the BITM is such a vast museum, and when you are taking a museum on wheels, obviously things have to be compacted. So what can one expect to see there?
See, Actually, introducing this museum on wheel, what we called in our language is the Museo Science Exhibition. That is a watershed moment in the history of science communication in the country. It is during the mid of 60s of the earlier century. We started the first, bus rolled on, and that was kept in the premises of this non-report arbitration mission. What do we do? Actually, we contact, before we roll it down, we contact the district coordinators, district education officers, and we make a circuit of schools. And then with prior intimation, we send a bus, and one, apart from the driver, there will be one communicator, one technician will be there. The bus houses more or less 20 to 24 miniature models on specific topic. It might be on specific topic, it might be on assorted subjects, it might be on climate change, it might be on what should I say, mathematics, it might be on water and chemistry like this one, or it might be on just physical sciences. But generally we try to align the theme of all those smaller exhibits aligned with the curriculum of the schools. And how do we conduct is that we station the bus in a particular school. The students from the neighboring school, they come. We stay generally for 3 to 4 days, and the host school arrange for the stay and the food for our team. So it is a big mela kind of thing, fair type of thing in the locality, and we get huge response. And now you may ask that when there are thousands of students, how do you manage it? What do we do? Generally, we select from those students some of the student leaders, and we train them to become explainers. And with these new responsibilities, they feel very much enthusiastic, and so they take charge of the exhibition and they start explaining. Our explainers, apart from those models, he also wants to show some demonstrations on different fields of study. It might be electromagnetism, it might be heat and temperature, and so on and so forth. That is there. In the evening, you can have sky watching, because it is also the telescope that is also an integral part of the Museum of Wheel scheme. You can also go for film shows. Now it is a bit less, but during that time when films or TV were not there at all, so these were very very highly demanded thing. So this is how we do, and we have been doing it very successfully. In fact, if I tell about our scenario on pan-Indian perspective, one of such buses that went even to Ladakh.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
And as I've told you, that it was a watershed moment in the history of science communication of the country.
Right. But science itself is dynamic. I mean, in the last 2-3 years, we have got AI, we have got ChatGPT and all of that. It's ever evolving. So how do you, keep up with this ever evolving nature of science?
Yeah, because today's modern science is likely to get outmodern by tomorrow's new invention, new statements and all the things. And we are very alert. Generally, we stick to the fundamentals. Fundamentals do not change, only the forms get changed. If you go to our, communication gallery, it is very much prominent, because these human beings who used to be very habituated with sending signals by fire or by smoke or by writing some things on the caves of the world, they used to do with all the things. But today's generation, generally they send by emojis. So fundamentals remain same, only the forms change. That is number one. So we always try to harp on the fundamentals of everything. But at the same time, we do not want to deprive the new generation of the emerging areas of technology. So we have a lot of programs science programs, especially during the summer camp. We have our programs on these new areas of technology, like biotechnology is a very emerging subject, always changing. We have AI, we have Arduino and other things that we do. And apart from this one, we have one innovation hub and one biotech lab. This is where anyone can come and join, take the membership. So this is how we try to help them. And also on the other side, as you were telling just some time ago, about the artifacts. What I'm telling, whatever artifacts you will find just outside, there you'll find some QR code. So if you scan that code, you'll find that you are now finding it in a very stationary condition. But how it used to work, that you can see, you can get all information, not only the written information, but also the with soundtrack you can hear, and also you can put it in your our existing space virtually, and you can see how things are running. So we teach AI and other new areas, and also we make use of AI and other things for better and effective science communication to the visitors and the students in particular.
Right. And what is your vision with BITM for the future?
See, as I told you in my first question, that it is Bengal that led the science and technology movement of the country. And coincidentally, the science communication movement also from this very building. But nowhere we have that way showcased the development of science and technology that took place in the region. Historically, it was the capital of British Raj. So naturally, everything started from here. Whether it is medical college, whether it is this museum and other things, this Indian museum and other things. But basically, everything started from here. But in this heritage building, we have nowhere where we can show the untiring effort our scientists did against the very, purposeful hindrances put forth by the British Raj, and also the scientific establishment that came up with the enthusiasm of a lot of, not only scientists but also by some philanthropists. So these are areas where we would like to showcase. Maybe in a year or so, if opportunities permit, fund permits, definitely we would like to showcase this one through setting up some period rooms and all the things. And there, when we are showing those histories, we will make good use of modern technologies, AI and other things. As if when Prabhu is sitting in his lab doing his experiments, you can talk to Prabhu maybe with AI. So these are all my vision. Not only my vision, it is the vision of entire team BITM, and we work together.
Right. To conclude, when we talk about heritage, the first things which comes to our mind are probably arts, performing arts, crafts, etc. Is it long overdue that science is also considered and given the recognition as a heritage subject?
I am not at all agreeing with your views, in the sense that long back, since the early parts of 80s of the last century, it is from this museum we started hosting and sending out, as a part of celebration of Festival of India exhibition in different parts of the world, an exhibition on Indian heritage of science and technology. So that is there. So we have been doing it. And to tell you very frankly that Science City is also one of the units of our, headquarters, National Council of Science Museum. So in Science City, you will find a complete dedicated gallery that is showcasing Indian history of science and technology. So heritage is not only part. In fact, you can tell that we show the art of science and science of art.
Right.
That is there. And in that exposition, you can see our archaeology, our, architecture, medical science, this chemistry, then our heritage in mathematics, music, everything. Even the gharat, you might be knowing that there is a gharat. There is a very indigenous system in the state of Uttarakhand, where the people, those who are living in the very difficult climates of the Himalayan region, they raise water, they take water from one level to the other. So you will find also one real gharat over there, and also our heritage in shipbuilding that is being shown, because we always think that it is Vasco da Gama and Columbus, they all came here, but they came in such ships, much smaller than the ships our people used to make it. And we have a treatise called Jukti Kalpataru, that is part of Raja Bhoja of 11th century. There in the treatise they have told that what type of materials you should use, when you should sell out, what type of joining you should do when you are making a ship, so what type of paint you should do. So this is a part of heritage. In fact, this very gallery has also showed this Indian heritage of shipbuilding. So as a whole, to show everything of heritage in science and technology arena, if you would like to go, you can see. Otherwise, what I am telling, that we have been doing this exhibition time and again and taking it to the different part of the world. We did it in 4 places in US, in USSR, in Czechoslovakia, and also very recently in 2012 we did it in Caribbean, in French Guiana, Trinidad, and all the things that we have done.
Right.
So this is there, and we are very alert, and also sometimes we arrange some lectures with some historians who can talk to the students about our very rich heritage of science and technology.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful conversation. And for more such interesting videos, please subscribe to Indulge Videos. Thank you.